All things happen for a reason, and that's okay. Okay? I'll get you through some things here. I think we'll be okay. I'm waiting for Zoom to. All things happen for a reason, and that's okay. Okay? I'll get you through some things here. I think we'll be okay. Okay. I want to start off this session by talking to you about our disclaimer first. But first, I want to talk about what's in it for the audience. I think the YouTube audience is very important to us because we want them to get out of these sessions exactly what we believe that they should be getting. And one, understanding abuse is probably one of the most difficult things in the world to do. And it's okay sometimes to just cry. You know, sometimes cry is probably our therapy for self.
You didn't stop.
And I understand you're in a busy household with things happening. So if you break away every now and then, don't be embarrassed or feel bad. But I want people to understand that I think you specifically, Bobby, you resonate with a lot of people around the world. You've suffered so many different types of abuses and from so many directions that you actually have become kind of a poster child, if you will, for abuse. And we're going to talk more about it. Now, stay with Michael. It's okay. Relax. Everything's going to be okay. And whatever you have to take care of, you can. And I want the audience to understand that understanding abuse, but more importantly, how to get beyond that. Doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take quite a few sessions, I think. The chronology of your pathologies are vast, and they're difficult to unravel, but we're going to do our best to unravel them. I hope you understand that. Now, I want people also to understand that this is a relatively new therapy, started about 30 years ago, and over the past 5.5 years, we actually brought it to public light, where we're now promoting it all over the world, I'm sure you know. And you're our very first live victim/survivor. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just one moment, the officer's here. I'm fine.
It's not?
Arguing, hands were being put on people, and apparently, you, boyfriend, your mom, hands were being put on you, and that's why we're here, and we're kind of concerned. Okay, this is kind of a domestic violence issue, and we can't let this go. So now we're here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was very much arguing. He hasn't felt well today, and I'm
okay. I know. I'm gonna let her finish what she's doing now.
Well, okay. That's fine. There's I'm good.
Bobby?
Yes. I'm just trying to let him know, like, I'm good. I'm in my room. I'm safe.
Explain the issue. Would you like to explain what happened?
Yeah. So my husband has been ill all day. Me and my son has went and got Christmas stuff. I do this 3 times a week. This is just starting. And I don't know if he's homesick, missing home, whatever his case may be. He wanted some quiet time. Unfortunately, I've committed to this Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. He also knows that I've committed to this. And so the argument began. And it's the name calling, the yelling, the tried intimidation,
You can actually look at me if you like. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. So it's about the name calling, the intimidation, big me, little you, or go all the way back to my past of the things that I've done, throw them up, hurt that way. I try to be understanding because he doesn't have family here. So I understand that. I know what it's like to be alone. I know what it's like to be afraid. I know what all of that is like. And so I show compassion, but it's a continual thing with just, my daughter and her children live here. This is all of our home. Okay. It was me and them before he ever got here. When he came from Wisconsin. Okay. It was us as a family.
Right. Okay.
That's me, my 2 sons, my daughter, and her 5 babies. Okay. Just made some decisions, what we're going to do for church on Sunday. She's cooking. And, he really can't find a place to, I don't know what you want to say, shell in and be quiet. It's just not going to happen in a house full like this. It's never going to happen with a house full like this. And
There are
my
ways, there are real ways, you know, to make that happen. But we can talk about that later, but that's you can't fix that in one session. Uh, but I'd really like to get your undivided attention in this. So whomever you're speaking with, let them know that we need to do this because we're live.
Actually,
it's,
I
it's
get-
Officer Perez.
I'm Officer Perez Doyle, please. Right now, we're doing an investigation for a domestic violence incident.
Oh, I understand. So you're actually in the middle of a situation right now.
Yes.
Okay. And as her
So-
therapist,
And I have to make sure everything is okay. If not, I have to act. So that's kind of why we're here right now. Ma'am, do you have your ID on?
No, I don't. I have a
Okay, that's okay.
digital copy.
That's fine.
I can tell you. I can tell you my. So embarrassing.
well, it's called life.
Did
Yeah.
anything, I just guess an argument,
That's all.
was
It-
anything physical?
No, it's just very hurtful. You know, like
Name calling?
it's just hurtful. Yeah. You know, my past always comes up, but you know what? You knew all about me when you married me. So
You guys are actually married and stuff?
yeah.
Robert Unit 61, 263, Robert Unit 61, 63.
So as this unfolds,
Okay.
was there any physical violence?
No, it was, I mean, he was so close arguing that literally, you know, like when you get so mad and you're spitting.
So
Intimidation?
The person that called us said that there was physical violence. There was pushing. Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
well, we were in this room right here, so nobody else would have, there's no way that nobody else could have seen that. Or
Okay, was your son see it?
no, he like pushed my son out of the way to get in through the door.
Okay.
Because just because he was standing here, like, you know, I want to make sure that my mom's okay, you know.
Okay.
So it wasn't intentional, like, hey, I want to hurt you.
Was any
But
threats of physical violence?
no.
Okay. So tell me again what happened from start to finish, so I know how to proceed from
For
here.
those of you
He was
who are
just
signing on now, what's actually happening
he was ill, you know,
is our
and
patient,
he needed to, as you know,
Bobby.
we talked about it earlier. He went upstairs,
Going,
he get
through
in a quiet
some
space,
Okay.
drama
and
within the home.
then he said he wanted to go get in the car.
Call.
And you know, if you're sick, like go up there and lay down. There's no kids up
Having a
there. There's
discussion
no
with
one
them,
around
so
up
we can
there.
continue out there.
So, you know,
So
it
listen,
just an argument ensued.
he's a very open
His
person.
sister, he wants to go home. Okay, whatever,
And he
whatever the
wants
case may
to
be. But I need to be
Understand
online
the
right now.
climate in
because
which
I
she's
have committed
operating and living.
Sure.
You know, this is my therapy.
Sure.
And he's gonna have the opportunity to do therapy too. And highly recommend it, but I can't force him to do anything. I don't feel afraid. I'm fearful for my life. And
Was there, I'm gonna ask you again, was there any pushing, was there any shoving, was there any of that towards you or you to him?
no,
Okay.
it
So-
was sorry.
Okay,
Making
give me-
sure you're all a part of what's going on here, because we're going to discuss that during our therapy now.
Give me a few
You
minutes.
may want to
okay?
get a
I'm gonna
seat,
be back
because
over
we're
there.
going to unravel most of this with her.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about our last.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, sir. Like he doesn't know. Like this is my therapy. He's
I get it.
part of
I'm
therapy.
gonna try my best. However,
It's okay.
I have to do my job,
Got it.
especially with this,
Yeah.
right? So what I'm doing, to be honest, is for your safety
Yeah, yeah.
and potentially others.
Yes.
And I'm superseding. So give me a few minutes, okay?
Okay. No worries. That other officer can come in if he wants.
So explain to us what's going on there, Bobby.
So my husband has been not feeling well this morning. He's been laying down. We're in a household full. It's an extended family, a blended family. It's my daughter and her 5 girls, my 2 sons, my 2 dogs, my husband. And there's really not ever a quiet place around here, especially with children from 2 to 10, 5 of them, you know, including
They
one
stay
that's
busy.
18.
They stay busy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I said children stay busy.
Yes, very busy. And so when, you keep them busy, or if they're in school, or, you say, hey, we're going to do this afterwards, they'll watch a movie, they're getting ready to eat, and so this time works. However, my husband is a ranter and a raver, and he has always been a ranter and a raver. And I've been very patient, and I've been very kind, and I've been very fucked up at times, and I've done fucked up shit at times, but I've never called him out of his name, never put my hands on him, I've never degraded him, done nothing but boost him up. I can only take so much too. Okay.
I'm listening to it, and I'm not immune to it. I grew up in
Yeah.
this kind of environment to some extent, but
Yeah.
there are remedies for this. It's going to take a while, but there are ways to approach and deal with all of these circumstances in which you're involved.
Right.
It's just the response mechanism that you use in order to deal with these things, as well as the reaction that we have to
Right.
further talk about and define, are going to make all the difference in the world. I see you're in a lot of pain. If you can describe your feelings, that would be fantastic. It's okay.
I'm just feeling unsupported and kind of betrayed to a promise that was made for me to, be involved in something like this, because in my mind, it was almost like, let me trick him into getting some help, maybe, possibly, or be involved in something where he can work through some things. But I think the hardest thing for me, just growing up and always shouldering responsibility and taking care of everybody from the time I was probably 6 or 7. I'm a caretaker and a fixer and a doer, and I've always took the brunt of everything, and somehow made it work. Made that work.
Absolutely.
Bring to your attention is
Yes.
this, okay? Is the voice called. Okay, they said that he was putting his hand on mom. I'm scared. Okay. He's seen one of your boys seen him grab you by like the mouth or something and throw you on the bed. Okay.
I don't know how they could have seen that when I was.
He said he was in this little wall right here, over the bed, and then after that, he pushed your son out of the way. He's upset.
Yeah, he pushed my son out of the way, getting through the door right here.
So,
But I mean, I've literally been here and been on camera.
this entire
Not the entire time, but while I was getting on, I got a call to get on, and I got on.
So,
But I mean, you can see me. I can take this down. I just got this. I'm on camera,
you're fine.
but
Okay.
I'd let you know if I wasn't. I'd let you know if I wasn't.
Okay. So then why are the boys thumbs?
Well, you have to ask them that.
I did.
You know,
I'm curious.
I know that they don't care for him.
Sure.
Especially Robert, my autistic son,
Okay.
and
I don't know which one is. So I'm not
Okay.
sure.
but I'm letting you know, like, I'm good. He, like I said, he got so close that the spit was coming out of his mouth.
Mhm.
Just cussing, calling names as far as things that I used to be, things that I used to do,
Mhm.
and like I said, it's just, he said he was going to go sit in the car or go for a walk, go to the park, whatever. I needed to do, like I said, I committed to this for 3 times a week from now. This is to help me. This is my,
Okay.
this is my help.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
So-
if I had a bloody mouth or a black eye,
Sure,
or,
but there's also DD incidents where there's no marks,
yeah,
but stuff has happened.
Yeah.
And clearly you're in distraught because it came in and your face is red, you've been crying.
Patience is a virtue.
yeah. Well, I'm just started crying on the thing when I'm talking to Mike
Okay.
about what's going on.
Okay. So saying nothing happened physically, nothing happened, no threats, physical violence?
No, sir, no. I was called names from like my past, but that's my past.
Okay.
That's things that I've already dealt with. So
Okay. And you guys are arguing that everyone quiet. get on here?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Can
Yeah.
you get on here?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
And then with the lights on, well, go upstairs. He had an option to go upstairs and go in William and Robert's room up there, play the game, get on TV, whatever he wanted to do.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
so
Let me go and
it's a pattern. It's a pattern,
does this
and if
usually happen?
man, it hasn't happened in a while, but if you're not happy here, you can go home. You can, you know,
Where's he usually? Where's he stay at?
Indiana or Wisconsin.
Okay. So you have family out there, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it like I said, it'll be okay here in a minute, and we can make arrangements to get him there.
Okay.
Fine.
You mean you said he's ill? What do you mean by that?
Like coughing and
Okay.
like that doesn't feel good, kind of
Okay.
Alka-Seltzer daytime stuff.
Okay. Give me a few minutes. I may be back in here for a few.
Okay.
Those of you who are watching, currently, she's talking with the police and now she's back to me. Okay, I can about surmise what's going on there. Let me ask you a question. Your very first emotion when you started to have this altercation earlier, what was your first emotion that was most prevalent?
Fear.
Fear. And in fear of what?
That things would have gotten worse than what they did.
Had you
I
not
always jump to the worst conclusion.
done what? They would have gotten worse. Had you not called the police?
I didn't call them. My
Who
kids
called?
did. My kids.
Okay, so they called the
Because
police.
it started escalating, you know, it started escalating to, you know, like name calling, uh, things
Why
of
do you
that
think that
nature.
happened? Why do you think that happened in that particular moment, knowing that you're going to be on this call? Why do you believe that happened, Bobby? As raw as you can be.
Because he's jealous.
You know, I had said in my mind the other day that he would be a great guy to interview, believe it or not, because I feel that sometimes, just based on my call with you both, and you're more reserved about it, but your body language says something else sometimes, and that is that you both sometimes intimidate one another in your social settings, but also in this particular endeavor. And I think I'd love to interview him in the future, and I think it would help. I think I'd like that very much as a male person who would be a patient. I think we can look at that. I think that will not only help you.
I also think that, you know, and I want to say this too, when we're talking about, you know, being involved in things, I'm connected to another group of individuals who, well, you know, Christmas parties happen throughout December, and you know, it's for women and children, and no male figures, like unless it's your son, are allowed to come there.
Mhm.
And then, you know, this coming Sunday, my church was split, and I had to do my research to figure out what was going on because I've been very church hurt the past few weeks. And so me and my granddaughters, my oldest two, are going to do like a praise worship song
Okay.
to kind of say, hey, you know, this is what this kind of community needs right now. It's about diversity and inclusion, and
Looking out
not
for
your
one.
typical hymn kind of thing, you know, that not it's more like a radical church of all faiths and colors and shapes and sizes, and that's me. That's where I walked through the door and I found it, you know, and so I'm very protective over it, and I've had to investigate, so to speak, on how I wanted to proceed. And it's felt like I was torn between my mom and dad, you know, because I wasn't there when the church split and made this new one. And so
It's a place of togetherness where you can feel kind of at home, but now you have to feel out. Now you're home, you have to feel out where you're going to be in that home.
correct.
I understand, you know, becoming it's okay. Family is everything. I understand.
It's okay, baby. You don't have to. You can sit here. Go ahead. That's my
So
son.
becoming a part of something. Hello, son, how are you? So protect, I used to protect my mom all the time. That's what a boy's job is, or a young man's job.
It's hard. And he only weighs 109 pounds soaking wet. So,
When they get
but
that
he
growth spurt, it's over.
can't, man.
How
My
old is
kid, he's 18.
Oh, 18. Well, he may have passed that growth spurt, but who knows? It may pop up at any time.
Yeah.
109.
I mean, he's tall. He's tall. He's like a 34 in pant length, but hey,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what, 6'2", 6'3"?
close.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, I'll say this, and on behalf of your son and as well as yourself and any others that are within earshot, is that remember I talked about the varying degrees of being okay.
Yeah.
See, okay is relative. If you're sitting in your church and you feel okay, it's because that environment as well as the input is making you feel okay. When you're at home and you're okay, it's the people and the environment but the culture of the family that makes you okay or not. So it's the same okayness that you have at home may not be at church, may not be at work. So I'm saying all that to say is that today is just one of those days where okay is relative to the discussion or the argument that was earlier. And sometimes we have to put away our sentiments when we're arguing. Because he was talking about you, and you were talking about me, and he was talking about me, and you. And that makes for a very bad exchange whenever you argue. Anyone who argues ever about anything other than your honor or your life, if you argue for anything other than those two things in life, you're wasting your breath. Can you name me one thing in your entire life and all the arguments you've ever had? I mean, talking about arguments. What have you ever gained from any one of them? Just name one thing.
Something.
A black eye. That's not a gain. That's a loss.
Yeah, right.
So what did you gain from any one of them?
Nothing.
Not a thing.
Nothing. If there's not communication is the key, man. But when I get so like up to here, all the stuff that I know goes out the window, and it's almost like I go into survival mode, and I just take a lot of stuff.
I understand.
I've learned to just take a lot of shit, man.
I know. That's why we're sitting here today. See, you don't have to take it because you don't remember. I think I mentioned this, but I'm going to reiterate it. You have to teach people how to treat you. And the only way you can ever start teaching someone to treat you a certain way is if you change, not them. They'll never change. Never try to change a human being on the planet. They will never change, no matter what it is. You're the one that has to change. And when you change the way you take that input, or you dish out your help or your subservience or your people pleasing, and when you change those things, then your life will become much better in the area of that particular abuse. And I can see it's psychological.
It's so hard, it's like the closer it is to my heart, I call it a matter of the heart. The closer it is to my heart, because I genuinely care, or what I've been understanding is maybe I can't fix the other person,
Impossible. Don't even try. Don't even try to fix people.
And so, I've said, let's do marriage counseling, and I've tried to offer different routes. And, I told him, like, I don't want to be your counselor. I don't ever want to be, I would never do that because that would be biased. I would have a lot of bias. So, and we argue about that because of our backgrounds. That's what he thinks kept his grandma and grandpa together, raised him. But that's not how I was raised. And I would want my own counselor because that's my outlet. And that's my, let me get my shit together kind of thing. And
you might not be part of my getting my shit together, and I might have to plan in order to get it together, and you might not be included. And so then it'll be a little harder. I love you, baby. I'm still.
That's so sweet. You know,
If that
sometimes,
makes sense.
of course it does. But you know, you're all over the place, but I understand you. And it's okay to be all over the place. That's the only way you know, you find your strengths in your weaknesses, not in your strengths. That's where you find your strengths. So sometimes you have to be at a weak point in order to value where you need to go thereafter. That's where you are now in this endeavor. You've just been doing the same things, Bobby, over and over again all your life. You've been falling into the same quagmires, the same doldrums of hell, the same problems over and over and over. People sometimes say, I got a sign on my forehead that says, you know, F with me, or hurt me, or beat me, or ridicule me. And you don't. You don't have that sign. It's just that no one's ever, I'll just say this to you, put you on that knee and say, sweetheart, this is not how you're supposed to be treated. So never let a little boy or a big boy treat you this way. If they don't treat you better than I treat you, then you shouldn't be around them. Just a simple gesture, even though you didn't have that kind of father, but you did have that in your grandparents, and you had some of that in other influences around you. But
nobody ever, you know, I think I always looked for that in my dad. But my grandfather was not a very affectionate man. He was I work, I take care of the bills, I go to work every day. Like, I really never seen my grandfather. When I did, he made me sit beside him and watch political history. I can remember just like it was like Charlie Brown, well, like I did not want to listen. But
that was funny.
taught me a lot, you
Okay.
know. But he wasn't there. It was like more teasing, you know, taking my baby dolls or stuff like that. But that was his way, I guess, to show that he cared.
Rather detached, but yes, that was absolutely that. And he's, you know, I often tell people like you, just on this call, and we're 26 minutes in, I'll tell you this. You have displayed that you have a 55-gallon drum of love for your grandkids, for your children, even for your husband in this exchange, because you wouldn't have gone there. For the love of the police haven't come. On and on and on. You've been exuding love and empathy and trying to get along to make things go along. Sometimes you have a 55-gallon drum full of love, but the people around you have a gallon or a half a tub or maybe a cup of love to offer in exchange. So
Or
if you're
maybe not,
giving, I'm sorry,
or maybe not.
or maybe not, but I would venture to say that's not the case. It's just sometimes when we're angry, we are bitter. But, and I'm going to go back to anger in a moment. But when you have so much love to give and you're not receiving the same amount in return, you have to become very aware and cognizant of about meting out the amount of love that you give. And it's hard to do that because love is something you surely cannot control. So you have to kind of learn to just dish it out when necessary and provide it to the people who can give you reciprocal or the same kind or value back. And even if you don't get the same value back, you continue to give the love you give. But you have to make sure that what you're exacting from everybody else is indicative of what you're giving. We'll talk more about that. Believe me, the exchange of love. Do you know what love is other than anything else? Okay, here's what love is.
Well, yeah.
Here's what love is. Let me give you this quick lesson in love. Most people say, oh, I can't understand it. Oh, it's so mysterious. Oh, and all these different things. They say a lot of things about love, but they never say what it truly is. And love is a form of defeat. That's all it is, a form of defeatism. It's when you surrender to love. You fall in love. You're overwhelmed by this love and this person. So you have to submit to that love.
Yeah.
And love is not, by its purest form, transactional at all. It is not transactional. So When a person is having a relationship with someone, oftentimes that relationship, you do all those things that you would do when you're in love. Like we spend nights together, we party together, we hang out, we go buy things together, we take care of the kids together, we do all the house things together, we shop together, we go out and dance and eat dinner. We do all these relationship things which are negotiable. But in our love, we try to equate love with a relationship. And that's where most people go wrong, because love and a relationship has absolutely nothing to do with each other. And I mean nothing. And we make it have something to do with us. So we make our love conditional. And when we do that, we're not mitigating risk, or we're not removing risk from our relationship. We're adding to it. And I say that to you because you have to know that love all by itself operates. Your relationship all by itself operates. And there are two different things. And one thing has nothing to do with the other. And that relationship is where you negotiate. Okay, you do the dishes, I'll wash the car. You go to the store, I'll go to the bank. You rub my feet, I'll rub your back. Whatever that negotiation that goes on happens within a relationship should never be equated with love. It should, one, be associated with appreciation, understanding, commitment, trust, honor, fidelity, understanding, kindness, care. All of those things in a relationship occur. That is the environment that generates love or cause love to become an issue between you and your significant other. See, what people do first is they fall in love, and then they try to figure out, does this person respect me? Do they understand me? Do they get along with me? Do they trust me? Can they speak to me well? After the relationship has already, you find out at the back end of everything. Sure, go ahead and smoke. It's okay. You find out on the back end, hey, after what you've been through, I'd probably have one too if I were you. So, and I can see your face, but you have to know that what you're doing right now by loving so hard, and you do love hard, you're actually hurting yourself. Now, for the people who need your heart in their faces all the time, like your grandkids, they don't get how much love you give or take. They just want the grandma and just love her, probably unconditionally. And that's just like the hug you just got a few minutes ago. That's okay. But the older they get and the more mature people get around you, they start to divide that love up with relationship, with education, with traveling, with knowledge. And that love is kind of dispersed out over a wide range of issues. But that core love, that unconditional stuff, what I just said a moment ago, that you don't compromise and you don't negotiate your love, it's by nature pure. You cannot make it transactional. I'll love you if. Well, I'll continue to love you, but I'll stop loving you if. Whenever you make your love conditional or transactional in any way, you got something backwards. Exactly. Now you're a people pleaser. You're a people pleaser. And that's dangerous. You know that, right? Being a people pleaser. That's why you're sitting there in pain right now, because you take it all in. You've endured so much. You've said to me on several occasions that you take on too much. You have so much to shoulder. Am I correct? If that statement is true, which I do believe it is, you got to understand that somewhere in this, when people don't appreciate what you do for them, and you see that they don't appreciate it by being a people pleaser, that means that you're hurting you. Because normally people who will allow you to do good things for them and still treat you poorly don't appreciate you. And they do not.
It's cold outside. It's about like 39 degrees out there. Does he have the keys to the car that he can just get into and chill out in?
Okay.
Because we're not,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not being arrested or anything like that.
He's welcome to go upstairs and get my son's. I'm not giving him my car keys. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
is that your car there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I'm not doing that. No,
Okay, is there-
but he's welcome. You can go up there and look. There's a quiet place for him to be. He can be away from everybody. My son William, you can shut the door, but I'm not giving him a car.
Okay, does he have stuff in there like?
No. No. This
This car's mine as well, but we've lost the key to that it's been over a month now. That's my car that I get around in. That's
Okay.
my car. No,
Okay.
he's not getting a key, but he's more than welcome to go upstairs and be away from everybody and shut the door. My
Okay.
son William could come down here and sleep with me. I got a huge bed.
Okay.
That's the best I can offer right now.
Okay. I understand.
I'm so sorry.
That was a good decision. That was a very strong decision you just had to make about his transportation and about your giving up your automobile. You were very clear on that. So when you were making that decision a moment ago and thinking about the conceptual framework, just the concept of the framework of how you make decisions, that was a very good one. When you're in an argument, one of the most important things you have to be able to do is make decisions. You said it goes to my head and I lose perspective and I lose this and I get upset and beyond control. Well, you have to make decisions, and we're going to talk about that in the future about how do you make decisions in that. Here's one of the tools that I would use if I were you, that we use at abuse care all the time. And that is, if you're going to teach people how to treat you, the first thing you have to do is change. So if the first thing you have to do is change, you have to change your dialogue. If I say to you, excuse my expression, you bitch and blah, 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 I'm talking to you and I'm denigrating you. I'm treating you poorly. I'm insulting you, correct? And if you come back and say, you mother so-and-so effer and da, 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 you bitch, you bastard, you do that to me, you're talking to me. The secret is if we make one another inclusive, and I want you to try this the next time you have an argument, just try it. The trick is, or the essence of what I'm trying to tell you is it has to be collective. It has to be about we and us. There's a thing called a hortatory command. Is when you say, let's do this and let's do that. It's a command, but it's about us taking that command. And what I'd like for you to understand is the only way you're going to ever make him change is if you change first. And you don't have to change for the better or the good. You have to change for the useful, not the useless. And what's useful, I'm sorry?
One thing I try to do, like if there's a name calling, yeah, I was that. I did that. That was me, I did.
Wrong.
But see, my past doesn't define my future at all.
But it does. It doesn't, but it does. In your head, because you've overcome so much, you have to put things in a compartmentalized place where you can categorically put it somewhere and know where it's at. So if you need to retrieve it or keep it where it is, you can maintain it there. So you don't let those things define you forward.
Right.
But think about it. If you have to say, my past does not define me, then it does. Because a person past that doesn't define them, they never have to even bring it up. It does on some level, and I'll tell you why. Because you're feeling the same pain you felt 10 years ago when somebody argues with you that's important to you. You're undergoing the same problems you have with your kids or your grandkids that you had when you were a kid. You have the same thing that went on between, I don't want to say loveless, but disrespectful relationship you had with your dad in so many ways.
My first husband.
Exactly, your first husband. So we haven't even gotten to him yet. So we have all these different things, and we put a pin in those. And I thought we were going to talk about them this session, but we're going to talk about them in the next session if we run out of time here. But I want to say to you that it is important that you recognize first the truth. Remember, our job is to, of course, clarify, assess, and then find truth. That acronym CAT, clarity, assessment, and truth, CAT. So to clarify, let's be honest with one another. If you say something and I don't agree with you, it won't be, hi, beautiful, how are you? Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. Hi. Hello, another one, two of them. Hello, beautiful. Good to see you. Wonderful.
This is Grandma's house. Okay, Grandma.
I understand. Yes, it is.
Can you close Grandma's door for me? Thank you. That's what keeps me going.
And that should be what keeps you going. But it shouldn't be against the hamster wheel that you've been on.
Right.
And I get that. You're on a hamster wheel and we need to get you off. But the only way you stay on that hamster wheel is if you try to take it all in and keep it there. You hold everything, you bottle it all up, and it gives you no outlet. It gives you no way to escape your living hell sometimes. It just gives you no way to escape. So you have to be nice to yourself sometimes and give yourself a different line of thought, a different way to react, not respond. Responding and reacting are two different things, but a different way to react and then respond. We're going to talk about that throughout our sessions, but when you say something like, my past doesn't define me, in your head, you're right, because you've been conditioning yourself all your life to not have that come creep back up from the past and beat you over your head. Although you have been beaten about the head, you have gone to prison, you have lost time with your kids and your grandkids.
Over and over and over and over.
Exactly. That's why your past is relevant. And not because, I'm some Sigmund Freud guy here. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not here to cure you. I'm here to help you see some things about you that's going to help you catapult yourself from this place you're in. That's it.
Yeah, because I got some blinders. I got some blinders on.
Yes, you do.
No,
And you're convinced. You're convinced that what you do is right because you've been able to survive. So let's take you out of that victim and survivor mentality for just a moment and put you in, I am a normal human being. Because remember, that's why we call it norm therapy. So we can help you find your normal. Not my normal, not any of our other people normal or your husband normal, but your normal. What would your normal have been had you not had the life you had? What would it exactly? So let's look at it from that perspective. What you're doing right now is so tremendously powerful. You're taking a look at yourself, and very few people on this planet can actually look at themselves introspectively and say, I need to make some changes. And remember, when you say, I need to make some changes, it's not just about you. Whenever you make change to your life, Bobby, that change that you make will affect all the people around you.
Yeah.
If you want to teach someone how to treat you, you have to change to the point they treat you the way you need to be treated. But if you're going to continually, you bitch, you bastard, you mother son, you ain't have my keys. You can have, if you keep doing that hamster wheel back and forth tennis racket thing,
but see,
you're going to never come out of it. Sorry?
That's one thing I don't do. Like, I don't degrade. I don't.
Not that you degrade, but you react to it. If you keep reacting to it,
but
you're going to keep getting the same outcome.
I don't feel. I don't feel now, and I could be blind to it, but
that's okay.
I've never, made intentionally make him feel less than, or I've always put a platform, or like I said, I'm a doer, I'm a fixer. I will make it so that he can be in a place to be what he would like to be, and maybe don't know how to get there, but I don't want to be his helper. I don't want to do where I help other people. Like he'll make the comment, you help people every day. But I don't want that responsibility from husband to wife.
I understand.
I don't want that.
That's why you need to teach him a different thing. The only way you'll teach him that is you change. And I'll tell you this. What did I call you the last session? I said you were a tough chick. Didn't I say that? You're a tough woman. You're not a joke. You're no easy pushover. And that's a good thing. You should know you have to learn how to use that. I don't think you've learned how to you use your toughness to ward people off instead of bring them into you in a way that you can handle them and they can handle you. You don't compromise with them and you don't compromise with yourself. And that's where you're so rigid, and that's where you're in so much pain. So we're going to look at a way that you can negotiate these circumstances in a different way. Once you change you and the people around you see that you no longer will take whatever it is that you're going through right at this particular moment or in any given moment, then they have no other choice if they want to stay in your life to make that change as well, to adjust to who you are. And that's where people miss it most often around the world. They miss the fact that they need to do something within themselves first so they can ready them for what comes next. Because if you're going to continue to do the same thing you've always done, you're going to keep getting the same results you keep getting. So change has to start with you. And that's okay. And you are wrong. And I'm going to tell you to your face because I think I like you. You're dead wrong. Your past does define you if you keep living it. If you choose to live by the standards of your past and the hurdles of your past, and you bring them into your current circumstance, and you expect your new circumstance to have a better outcome, it never will, because this is all you got. So let's put some things in your present that you can use. That's the whole idea of norm therapy. It's not the kind of therapy where we want to, you don't have a mental defectiveness. I mean, you've gone through some mentally challenging things in your life, some abuses with illicit substances, but in my opinion, I don't see you as a person needing mental health right now. What you need is a break. You need to start looking at yourself differently. You
Lord
need,
have mercy,
you
do I
need to,
need a break.
yeah, you need to look at yourself differently. You got to start valuing yourselves. If I'm a motivational person for right this particular moment, I would say, let me motivate you to start figuring out what do you value? If I can leave you with anything today, and we have a few more minutes, so I'm not gone yet, but I want you to put this on your heart. What is your value? Have you ever stopped and looked and said, let me make one column of what I'm valuable and how I fit into the world, and what are my pluses over here? What's my value? My aggregate score of life. Who am I? And then over here, what are my problems? What are my demerits? What are the points that take away from my value? And I would make 2 lists and be honest with yourself, because we're going to share that list at some point. But as homework, this must be done. And I know you got a lot of stuff going on. But for our next visit this coming Saturday, I want you to have that list ready. So when I go into our 3rd session, I want to talk to you about why do you think you're valuable? I can tell you 10 things right now off the top of my head why you're valuable, but I will not give you the cheat sheet today. I will make sure you talk to me about these things on Saturday in our next session, and then we'll have a better time with looking at my list to see if they're congruent, see if they make sense to one another, because I can already see reading
One
people
side is where I'm valuable, and the one side is where I'm falling short.
as listen, that's the terminology you got, that then use it. I'm telling you, Bobby, the one thing about you that's good is that you're hard. You're not a softie. You're only a softie to the people you love. That's all you are. But after that, you protect your own. Now include you in that basket of people. Protect your own. Homogenize this playing field. Make it kind of even. Make this an even playing field for yourself, where you start considering yourself in the same way you consider others. And if anybody you decide to do anything for don't appreciate it, then don't do it. If there's no level of gratitude or appreciation in anything you do in life, don't do it. Unless it's obligatory or something like, yeah, I got to get up and cook everybody breakfast because everybody's going to school or going to work. That's one thing. But when it comes to something like you're giving of yourself, you're giving your expertise, your creativity, you're giving your heart to a chore or an activity, and the person or people who's receiving it don't regard it with the same kind of acceptance and love and understanding, then don't do it. People pleasers are normally the first sign of abuse. If you see a person running around going, okay, I'll get this for you. Don't worry about it. Let me get this and I'll go do this. I'll go down here and I'll get that. Don't worry. I'll go to the store. I'll get it. I'll be right back. And let me go down here and do this. Then I got to go get changed. I get in my shower. And then I got to go down here and get the kids. But
How about the people that know that you're going to do it, so they ask because they know you're not going to say no, right?
Exactly. That's people pleasing. So don't do it. What you have to do though, and this is the key to it, is sometimes people like pleasing people. You have to understand this. Sometimes there's some people out there who are not people pleasers, but they actually enjoy pleasing others. And they get something out of it. Because not everything you do for somebody are they taking you for granted or not being grateful. Sometimes I'm sure that young lady, those 2 young ladies just came in now, your grandkids, when you use something for them. I know they're like, oh, that's my grandma. That's my grandma. Yeah, I love my grandma. This is my grandmother's house. As he just said. Yeah. Why did they say that? Because they appreciate you.
And the time that I spend and the things that I do and the crafts that we do and putting up lights and, just.
They can depend on you. They can depend on you.
Huh?
They can depend on you?
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. That's the security in the relationship you have with them that they need to make sure that their love component for you, that 55 gallon that you need filled up all the time, is actually adding to that 55-gallon drum of love. And they're pint-sized kids, so they're probably trying to give you a gallon, more than they could possibly muster. And you felt it in that exchange. That is how you should feel when a person is grateful for you or has gratitude. If you don't feel that way, Bobby, you're not being appreciated. And it's a simple thing to get people to appreciate you. It's very simple. Would you like to know the secret to being appreciated?
Yeah.
Let them know to their face that you don't feel appreciated. And if you want this kind of activity to continue, then you'll have to learn to appreciate me and you'll keep getting it. You have to tell people, call them out on the appreciation factor. That's that simple. If you're not worried about getting popped in the face or cussed out or beat up, say it anyway. If they're going to beat you up, say it anyway. You're going to beat up anyway.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case with what I'm saying, but I'm saying to whatever extent you think you're afraid of, it's going to happen to you anyway. It's like the bully that takes your lunch money every day. The day you stand up and pop that bully in the lip, he's still going to hit you, but he'll think twice the next time he tries to rob you of your money. So I'm not saying I'm not advocating violence, and I don't want you to ever believe that I am, but
Right.
whatever's going to happen is still going to happen. But at least it's known what you will deal with and what you will not. And once a person knows the parameters in which you will operate, then they'll start to conform to those parameters and you'll get appreciation. But if you argue for it, if you plead for it, if you threaten for it, if you call somebody their name for it, you're never going to get it. All you'll get is disdain, is disrespect. So you just simply tell somebody, and here's a secret. Here's a secret. The minute you tell them and they know what you just said, and you don't continue to talk, stop talking. Don't say another word. Just simply stop talking. Let them say 50 words. Don't respond. Don't reply. Don't argue. Just simply stop talking and just try it. In one of your volatile situations, hopefully you don't have any between now and Saturday, but if you do, just try saying what it is that you feel and that you want out of that exchange, and then stop talking. And don't make it about you. Make it about us. Say, this is how we should be. This is what we need. This is what we want. This is where we should be. When you make that other person inclusive on the decision-making process, you make them also responsible to that decision. Just by the mere word we, or us, or let's. Use those words. That's called confrontation. There's a difference between confrontation and arguing. A very big difference. One is very selfish about me, you, I, or the other one is about confrontation. It's about us and what we can do to make it better. Who's going to contribute this, and I'll contribute that. And just realize something, Bobby. And I think you know this because it's been so unfair to you. There's no such thing as 50-50.
No.
It'll never exist in any relationship you ever have. And whether it's your boss, whether it's your husband, your best friend, your cousin, your children, it doesn't matter. The relationship will never be 50-50. So don't look for that. You've been on the short end of the stick of that. If you want to get to the 70 percentile area, the 60 percentile area, listen to what I'm saying. Start speaking in terms of we and us and how we can get things together. And be sincere about it. I guarantee you the screaming, the arguing, the police, all that will go away. At least a start. Because people need to hear that they're part of the solution. They need to hear that they're the problem, but they also need to hear that there's a way out for both of you and you're going in the same direction. I think that's very important. What do you have to say about that?
I do try to be solution focused, and maybe I don't focus so much on the problem, and maybe I need to still address the problem as well as stay in the solution. But I think I miss that part sometimes, and just kind of glaze over the problem and then just try to offer suggestions maybe. And so I I don't put it out there like this is the problem and we can work towards this, even if it's a small goal. You know, maybe I'm not so clear in the problem or even admitting or acknowledging that there's a problem, but somewhere in my mind still come up with some kind of solution, but it's more less not really a solution, I guess, hearing myself say it if I'm
It's
not
not effective. It's not
problem.
effective. Exactly. It's not effective, Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not the important part. And I know it sounds very important, although it is. The important part is you're trying. You're really trying hard. It's evident. You don't even have to guess. You're definitely putting your best foot forward and you're trying. Take that energy and stop saying to yourself anything about what you can't do or cannot do. Talk about things you can do. For instance, you mentioned the problem. I really don't go to the problem when I probably should go to the problem. But then if I don't go to the problem, I don't get this done or that done, the other. And you said that. And you convinced yourself in that one oration, you said, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Because you
Hearing it out
need
loud,
to,
that doesn't.
exactly, you need to look at the problem. And that's what you need to do. Now, we only have a couple minutes left. And so I have to say our disclaimer that we're not traditional therapists or licensed anywhere outside of our organizations. And we are looking to be accredited by institutions of education and learning around the world right now, as well as accreditation and licensure with different organizations and governments around the world. Right now, we're working on that as we speak, as norm therapy is its own discipline. So we're not here to cure you or diagnose you or any of that kind of stuff, but we are here to talk you through your circumstance and see if we can shed some opportunity for you to make some changes and find some clarity. Because once you do, you find the clarity, you'll be able to assess it, and then you'll be able to reach in there and grab out all that muck and get it over there, and then you'll find your truth. And once you have your truth on your clarity, oh my God, your whole doorways will open up new to you. Also, to our audience, I'm not sure how many are there or not, or how many see us from different places, but I will say this. We want you to get something out of these sessions, and we're going to continue them, and we want to keep you coming back on this coming Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing this again. And then every time thereafter, it will be at 6 p.m. at Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, not Saturday anymore, but Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 6 p.m. And that way, because Sunday is when the larger group of people are on the internet and they're not at work or some other thing. Are you okay right now, Bobby?
I'm better. I'm better than I was when I started.
Well, I'm happy. I hope this conversation had a little bit to do with that. Also, I need to say something else. Everybody keeps reminding me to say I need to click share, like, and subscribe. I hope you find something new about what we're doing. We have a different approach. We didn't get a chance to get into a lot of our techniques today. We just had a conversation about what happened to you today, and that's fine. Real life happens. And I think if we don't tackle life as it occurs, I always tell people, Bobby, you deal with life or life will definitely deal with you. So, and you're dealing with
I
life.
would have rather it happened like this, and because I'm transparent and I want, if you don't know what's going on with me, how can you lead me to my truth or my clarity or and so, I would have rather just had it happen like this than it happened, then I suck it all up. And now I'm this person that in my mind, all this shit's going on, and I'm not talking about what's really bothering me and just move forward. So I'm kind of glad that everything happens for a reason. And
I'm glad it did too, but we know we got 26 seconds, believe it or not, before the clock runs out. So I want to tell you this, don't suck it up anymore. Let it go. Just let it go. You have to let go and move on. And we'll talk more about that.
I'm gonna get in here and decorate this tree with these kids.
There you go.
Put me some music on, and we're gonna drink hot chocolate, and I'm gonna keep it pushing.
Thank you all for joining us today. I look to see you on Saturday at at 5 p.m. this Saturday. Thank you very much, Bobby, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.